is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show. Your war room for insider news and draft analysis from deep within the confines of Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
And now, your host, Kyle Youmans.
Today is February 4th, 2025, and we are officially 79 days away from the NFL Draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Welcome into the Draft Show presented by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And as we were out in Mobile, Alabama last week, and as we were scouting the Shrine Bowl up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, I saw one common theme among the YouTube comments across the way. We could have been interviewing Mike Green of Marshall. Could have been interviewing Ollie Gordon of Oklahoma State, or even Tez Johnson from Oregon. And the one thing that we were told on that YouTube comment is, where the hell is Voch Lombardi? Here he is. It's just you and me today.
I am incredibly grateful, that my YouTube audience carries over, but y'all can't be mean to the people that own the house. Like, we just guess, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think they were mean.
Sometimes they
mean?
Sometimes they hooligans and they get out of. I don't read the comments, but I value my mental health, so I don't read as many comments as I should. But it's an honor and a privilege to do this. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't want the audience to be like, and I'm like, hey, I don't feel that way. I love doing this. You know what I'm saying? So shouts out to the Draft Show. Shouts out to everybody that's watching, whether you're from my audience and whether I'm new to you or not. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We love having you on here. And it was Nick Harris that pointed it out. He's like, yeah, man. It's like we were interviewing Jack Kaiser from Notre Dame, and I was looking at the YouTube comments and was like, why is Voch not in Mobile? I was like, well, he's doing Shrine Bowl
because
stuff.
I was in Denton.
He's doing other stuff along the way. We got to divide and conquer up here, which is what's happening this week. Dividing and conquering. They could have had their own draft show out on Radio Road, and I mean, who knows? Maybe Brian will try and hop on a headset sometime soon. But Brian, Zach, Tommy, Nick, and Bobby are all in New Orleans for the Super Bowl, and then Voch and I are back here holding it down with Chris Beam in the back. So glad you're with us. We're going to take a lot of questions and a lot of calls today because it's an opportunity for us to kind of talk about what happened last week. Big week for the first step in the scouting process, in the NFL draft process. But there's also kind of becoming a point where everyone's starting to know these prospects and know these names across the way. Going back to your coverage last week of the Shrine Bowl, watching the Senior Bowl practices, what was one thing that stood out to you?
So the best thing about it, right, is that it's two different bowl settings, right? Senior Bowl is mostly like, okay, you got some top 100, some 150 guys, and a couple others in there. The Shrine Bowl is like the top 300 or so guys.
Those are the gyms.
And they're fighting to get into that 150. And nothing against them because they have some guys like Brock Purdy emerged from that group of guys, right? Somebody has to emerge from that group of day 3 guys, right? So what you have is you got to do, I think the Shrine Bowl guys, I think they're a lot more hungry because I think that they're, fighting for their football life, so to speak, right? I think if you look at, Senior Bowl, and look, the Senior Bowl is a fantastic tool also. Mike Green knows he's getting drafted high. Walter Nolan knows he's getting drafted high. But there's some guys like Nick Nash, wide receiver, San Jose State, right? Yep. He don't know what his football future looks like. So you see him going the extra mile to make some of these plays. And we'll even look at, sometimes these guys won't even play in the bowl game. Damn near everybody's playing in the Shrine Bowl,
Nick
right?
Nash did not play in his bowl game. He was in the Hawaii Bowl against South Florida 4 days before they ended up playing that game. He pulled out and said, I'm going to get ready for the NFL draft process. Here he is in Denton, Texas, and then Arlington, Texas, showing out for the Shrine Bowl.
So it's a different level of, grit with those guys. But I learned a lot. Sometimes you walk in and you go, all right, let's, we know who you are. Like, we know who, I keep saying Mike Green because he's the hot name now. Yeah. And now we're talking about Mike Green at 12 overall. And maybe we got a story one day about how I've been getting fought on social medias about not taking running back and wide receiver. We'll cross that road later. But there were some situations, right? Like, we'll look at Deion Walker. I'm like, all right, Deion Walker, this is your opportunity. If you got one chance, mom spaghetti, just go out there and whoop somebody. But I don't know if he took advantage of his opportunities in that way.
Wasn't super impressed.
I don't know if he took advantage of his opportunities.
But his film is still incredible.
For sure.
His film is still great, but what he did in Mobile was not, in my opinion.
So you have to weigh, and you have to, all right, do I lean on these 5 games or so that I watch, these 5 or 6 real football games that I watch, or this handful of days of bowl practice that I saw? So you have to weigh that. But I think there are questions that you got to ask, like even small questions, like TJ Sanders was a guy, South Carolina, D tackle. I was like, okay, I know he's an athlete, but is he strong? And he'll go out there in the bowl practice, just run down the middle of somebody and bull rush the hell out of these. I was like, oh, cool, you're stronger than I thought. Or at the Shrine Bowl, right? I was there with Woolchuck and Chris Paul, linebacker from Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I was like, you really good versus the run, sir, but I want to see you in coverage. And I saw him get to go cover people, and he was better than I thought in coverage. So I learned a lot from these bowl games.
You're taking bits and pieces of the prospect that you had already evaluated, and you either elevate or decrease what you thought about them initially. And so I thought a good example of that is Barron Sorrell, edge rusher out of Texas, probably early day 3 guy.
4th round maybe,
4th round guy initially. Comes out there and he was dominant off the edge. Just as impressive, maybe not as impressive as a Mike Green, but just as impressive as some of the other edge rushers that were out there. He's maybe in the day 2 conversation now of what he brought to the table. Thought he was a speed rusher at Texas, did some things quick off the line of scrimmage, never saw that length and able to extend, able to set the edge, never really saw a lot of that. He did it all week long consistently in Mobile, and that's from a practice standpoint, but these practices aren't just practices. They're games for these guys.
And that helped him even more because he's in his rotating system, right? Also, Princely McMillan.
Yes,
edge from Ole Miss, right? He doesn't play all the first downs. Like if you watch film, you just turn the film on. He's not out there first down. You're like, hey, where is he at? I'm watching film on this guy. I see number 15. I see, 92 and all those. I see all these. Where's Princely at?
Yeah.
But man, he'll walk out there on 3rd down with his chest all big, and you go, okay, well there he goes, and he's whooping somebody immediately past where you go. That's why you out there on 3rd down, right? Yeah. You watching him, you go, all right, this is what more reps look like for you, because he may only have 20 reps in the game.
Yeah.
Some of these other guys, they only have so many reps. So yeah, they have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to go out there and play more. And most importantly, can you play somewhere that you normally don't play? Princely played in B-gap sometimes, and it was terrible. I'm like, hey, man, don't put Princely in B-gap no more. I keep going back to Mike Green because he's such a hot name here. Some of the questions that he was having was like his size, right? Like did he look big enough? And I think he measured great, looked big, looked a little more swollen. It doesn't hurt you to run down the middle of Connerly, who's another first-round pick, the left tackle from Oregon, to just run down the middle and make a highlight out of him. So, I think Senior Bowl is where these guys either make or lose a lot of money. And I was shocked at the guys that made so much of it and just one or two practices.
Yeah, I thought another name that you could throw out there, and I've got a article on DallasCowboys.com right now. It's called High Five Rising Stocks from the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl. So I've got 5 players from the Shrine Bowl, 5 players from the Senior Bowl that I really thought stood out throughout the week of practice and into the game. And one of the highlighted players was Jack Besh, wide receiver from TCU. I brought him up on maybe the 1st or 2nd episode this year because we were talking about Savion Williams, who didn't end up participating, and I was kind of hopeful to see Williams. Yeah, it would have been a big day big week for him. Besh comes in and kind of took over that, and maybe it was just the purple TCU helmet or the story that was around him wearing his brother's number 7, Tiger Besh, who unfortunately passed away in that New Orleans terrorist attack about a month ago. He was honoring his brother. Catches he was the leading receiver in the game, first off, had 4 catches for 43 yards, had a great week of practice leading into that, and he capped off the entire week by catching a touchdown pass. I know a lot of this is X's and O's, and like you said, putting guys in specific situations to challenge what they've seen on tape, challenge what they've done in games previously, but this also is a chance to get to know the player. And I thought he made money off the field just as much as he made money on the field, overcoming adversity, showing his mental fortitude and mental toughness in order to have the week that he did. It was really an impressive thing. I think there are a couple times in the Senior Bowl process where we'll go back and we'll say, wow, that was special. Aaron Donald's one that sticks out to me. Dak Prescott's another one in 2016. Dak Prescott had a special week in Mobile. Justin Herbert in 2020 as well had a great week in Mobile, ended up being a top 5, top 10 pick in his own right. I thought what Jack Besh did this week was as close to being special as anybody else on the Senior Bowl roster. And it was really cool to see both on and off the field because his X's and O's, he was good. Deep ball threat, high catch point, high catch radius. He was able to show some physicality, which I didn't think he showed a ton of during his tape at TCU. Sure. Now he can kind of rely on that and say, I did this against some of the better corners in the league.
It's so funny that you say that. I was just having a talk with my audience there. You know, I always say this: teams suck at drafting, right? I always say, hey man, guys fall down the board way more than they should. Guys rise up way more than they should. I have a theory that exists because coaches fall in love with the guy. You know what I mean? Coaches talk to these guys and they fall in love and they just boost them up real high. I don't think that of Besh. I think highly of Besh. Besh is my first round two. My number one round two wide receiver.
So you have him in the second.
I got him in the second round.
See, I have him high third right now, and that's even more so than what I had when I brought him up in the first place. I had him as a high four. What he did this week gave me a third round pick on him.
He does all the things that I like. Like, you know, if you have size and length and catch radius, but you're also a route runner, and one day we're going to have a conversation, if we're ever running low on content, you know, what is a Dak-friendly wide receiver, right? Like, what kind of wide receivers do you think Dak likes? Not what we think a Dak-friendly wide receiver is, right? But does he want those guys to make tough catches in these tight windows, or does he want somebody that's going to run routes and get wide open? Does he actually want a big speed guy? We just don't really use it in that way. One day we're going to have to figure that out, and we got new coaches here, and I imagine that Dak, you know, took another leap up the, you know, totem pole with this coaching change or whatever. So I wonder if Dak is going to get in somebody's ear and be like, hey, I want this kind of guy. And we don't get a whole bunch of Jack Beshes in here. You know, we get a bunch of slot dudes, a lot of move around guys, and some X's here or there, but like a X big body, you know, route running, little bit of yak guy, we haven't gotten that before. So if he's there at 44, I'm taking y'all to Golden Corral if we can get him. That's a little high for you, it seems like, but 44. But
I would be okay there, and there may be other receivers there. I think this is a receiver-heavy draft in the second and the third round
for sure.
This is not a high-end, other than maybe a Tetarola McMillan from Arizona. I know we've got some of those other names like Emeka Ibuka up at the top that you kind of are interested in.
Tez Johnson, Trey Harris, guys like that.
Yeah. Do you think Tez is in that mix now? You think he's a first-round-ish type? I still think he's in that jumbled mix of guys in the second, third, fourth rounds as well. We're going to see a run at like 38.
Sure.
It's going to happen at 38, 39, and guys are going to just run off the board at wide receiver.
I think we're going to get a wide receiver run right around that time, 35, 36, 38, but I also think we're going to have another run at like 6.
You think so?
I think it's going to be a run. I think it's going to be a run at 6, and that's what I've been on YouTube kind of and just fighting guys about.
Burden.
Right? Like, we have to be prepared for the idea that your favorite wide receiver may not be there. So we have to learn how to pivot. I think somebody's going to see Tet go, and then somebody's going to be like, well.
I saw Tet as he was like number 17 on somebody's big board.
Well, they don't watch film, Kyle.
If they don't
know ball.
This dude is Mike Evans, in my opinion. What Tetaroa McMillan brings: big body, good route runner. He's got the full route tree at his disposal, which I love coming out of college.
Yeah.
I think he's Mike Evans 2.0.
I say this all the time. I don't believe in generational players all the time, but some dudes got generational traits.
Yeah.
And his ability to go up and find the football and come down with it is as generational as it gets. Like, he may not have everything. He may not be a Calvin Johnson guy. Like, he may not have the speed and lateral, thing.
My cons on. I don't even remember a lot of them because he was so good.
Sure.
If he wins at the line, he does it with size, not burst.
Sure.
Which I think is fair whenever you look at some of the games he played. I watched West Virginia, Arizona State, Kansas State. Bring a challenge against press coverage when faced with stronger, longer corners.
Sure.
So he didn't face a ton of those in the Big 12, plain and simple.
If you want to watch a fantastic game, Travis Hunter was right there.
On him.
Was right there.
I didn't watch that. I need to go back.
Oh, please. 2023, 24, watch both of them. He's just jumping over Travis Hunter. And look, and that was the first Travis Hunter game I watched, right?
Oh, really?
So I was like, all right, let's see.
Why is this guy
let's see what Travis Hunter got versus old Arizona. Ain't no pros on old Arizona. And Ted McMillan's just whooping Travis Hunter. I say, who is this character spinning like a ballerina in the air, changing his spin direction? I don't know the big scientific word, centrifugal energy or whatever it is.
Centrifugal force.
Spinning his body in the air. I say, man, who the hell is this McMillan kid? And what I like about him, and we just talked about Dak friendly, there are some people that think that Dak Prescott is the worst quarterback in the league. Cool. Ted McMillan is a bad ball catcher. No matter where you put it, up, down, left, right, he'll go catch it. But We ain't got to worry about that, Kyle, because he's not going to be there. He'll get drafted way, way before old Dallas goes.
I remember back in 2020 on my first season of the draft show, I said that same sentence about a guy named CeeDee Lamb.
Well, that's because the league sucks at drafting. Teams ain't good at this.
Which means it could happen.
That's fair.
Which means it could totally happen.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
How far away do you live from the Star? I ran from the Star, from my apartment to the Star and back whenever they drafted CeeDee Lamb.
I'm about 20 minutes away. If I was around, I was just a lowly YouTube character at the time, but if I was around, I probably would have ran some laps too.
Yeah,
probably
it happen.
But I don't know if we're gonna get that this year though. Sure. You know, every draft is different, and that draft in particular, I was just kind of running it down. Like, man, some team is gonna hate on CD's speed. Some team is going to value how fast Ruggs is or Judy the route runner. There's a lot of dudes in that draft. You know, Derrick Brown was in there. Ken Law was in there. We were wrong about some of the corners up there. C.J. Henderson was there. And we just, you know, but whatever. I don't think this is that class where all the good dudes are going to get lost in the wave of other good dudes.
If anything, it's what kind of good dudes are enough to stand out from the pack.
So, Kyle,
I don't think this is a top-heavy draft at all.
I've been fighting fights on the internet. Let me just introduce something to you.
Okay.
Kyle. Josh Simmons from Ohio State. Have you watched him?
The tackle?
The left tackle.
Yeah.
So I think he's tackle one in this class. And
Okay.
and everybody ain't got to agree with me. I think he's tackle one. I think he has the knee issue, and, you know, if Dr. Cooper, you know, we just knock
See,
on.
that I haven't put a grade on him yet because of that. I have him, Tyler Booker from Alabama. I've got Tate Ratledge from Georgia is up there. But no, I think you're spot on.
I think Josh Simmons
He could probably be number one. Him and Connerly.
I think he's a bona fide dude. And I'm trying to get Cowboy fans ready. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think he might be an option for you at 12.
Okay.
To
Is
where
he your left tackle or is he your right tackle?
he's a full-blown – he could probably do both, but I think he's a full-blown left tackle.
See, and that's what I'm okay with.
Sure.
Because if you're going to revamp this roster to do what Brian Schottenheimer wants to do, which is run the football, protect for Dak Prescott, and get the ball out to your playmakers, you got to start up front.
I think there's this big three that Cowboy fans want. We don't know what the Joneses and Will and them want, but but Cowboy fans want running back, wide receiver, DT. No matter how we address that in the first 3 rounds, they
I guarantee you those will not be the 3.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no way.
Kyle. We don't know what's going to happen.
Nah.
We could walk away with an edge. We got to be ready for that. We could walk away with a corner. We got to be ready for that.
Could be a tight end in there somewhere.
What I'm presenting to people. I'm gonna look in the camera and tell y'all this. What I'm presenting to the viewers, Kyle, is Tyler Guyton was like my offensive tackle 8 or 9. It just is what it is.
Was he for me?
Go ahead and look that up. He's like offensive tackle 8 or 9. I think it's different when you have an opportunity to draft offensive tackle 1. One thing I like to do to paint the picture of him is if he was in last year's draft, right? He wouldn't be there with Alt and Fashiono and Fuanga. He's not there with them. But I think he's right between.
I had Guyton at 8.
So cool. Yeah. I think he's just better than a J.C. Latham type of guy. You know what I mean?
Okay. See, I had a first on Latham. I had a second on Guyton.
Sure. Okay. Cool. So we on the same
About
page.
the same thing. Yeah.
So I'm talking to people and they're referring back to the idea that we've invested so much in offensive line already. Don't tell me about your draft pick. You have invested offensive tackle 9 or whatever it was for you, a second round grade, because we're at the back of the first round at this point. I think if you have an opportunity to draft an offensive tackle 1, and that's just my opinion. If you have an opportunity to draft an offensive tackle 1, as bad as you want running back, I don't think Genty gonna be there. No way. The Cowboys won too many games to get these elite guys you want.
If he's there, do you think they take him?
They should.
I think so too.
They should.
Yeah.
I would take him.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be there. McMillan, I don't think he'll be there. He's too good. Burden. I love Burden.
Let's say McMillan and Genty are there. What's your thought?
I'm taking McMillan because wide receiver is more valuable, and I'll just take the running back in the second round.
I agree. And especially with the way this class shakes out and the way you could pair him. He would be the perfect pairing with CeeDee.
Perfect. I'm logical here. And I know people see me as offensive line guy, and they say, oh, if I just try and bring another offensive line guy. But if you have an opportunity to get an OT1, I think you have to at least consider it and not just lean on the idea that
as long as the medicals check out, then all of that plays a factor.
Knocking on glass, if Dr. Cooper says, hey, man, his knee's good to go, he won't have any setbacks, he'll be a bad MF day 1. I'm taking offensive tackle 1 is going to be a bad MF day 1.
Yeah.
As opposed to my complimentary wide receiver 2 to go along with my superstar that I have already.
So if you do that, It doesn't. Of course, it doesn't close the door on running back.
It never does. No,
because you're going to get one of those guys. I think at some point you're going to get a running back. Does it close the door on wide receiver in this draft?
No, because I think there's a lot of great wide receivers in round 2 and 3, like you mentioned,
Like we were talking about.
and something that the Cowboys have to do, and I know that they do this because I'll say messed up and did this last year, is you have to take a receiver, but if he's not better than what you have, then just don't reach for one. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a bunch of receivers that are cool, but if I'm going to take one, I would like for them to be better than, I'll just say what we have. I don't want to say anybody's name, but better than what we have. And I think the same thing applies with offensive line. I don't want to just reach for, we got an offensive line in the 5th round. Now he's competing with Austin Richards. I got an Austin Richards. You know what I'm saying? I want somebody that's going to blow that competition out the water.
Yeah.
We currently drafted a left tackle last year, and I hate I got to talk about him like this, but he was competing with Chuma Edoga at the end of the season. I don't want my left tackle, nothing against Chuma Edoga. I don't want my first round guy competing with Chuma Edoga.
He's a right tackle.
You think Guyton is a right tackle? Man, I think Guyton has some of these same problems at Oklahoma at right tackle that he's having at left. I think his dexterity's fine. I think he plays both sides fine.
Yeah.
I think he has a leaning and grabbing and holding on for dear life problem.
I don't know. He didn't play enough at Oklahoma for me to say he had a ton of those problems. He was kind of like what he was this year, where it's 4 games on, 2 games off.
That's why
4 games on, 2 games off. Dexterity might not be an issue. Durability might be a problem.
And that's exactly why I don't like the raw player that hasn't played a whole bunch of football.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. And look, Guyton may be phenomenal in 4 years.
Yeah.
But it's time for a contract then, and we got to, you know what I mean?
We gotta talk about
and we got to live in the darkness for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think it's what you want to do is have as many slam dunks as possible. You know, and I just don't want to pass up on slam dunks, or what, in my personal opinion, I would think is a slam dunk. Just to go for need. I think we've learned our lesson from that.
Yeah, the last 2 drafts for sure. And at 12, I don't think you're pigeonholed into drafting for need. At 27, you might have been. You might have been at a point where you said, "Hey, this is what we've got to do." I mean, I know they were 24 last year, back to 29. 27 is where you drafted Mozzie Smith.
Yeah.
You've had those kind of draft classes the last 2 times. When you're in the late 20s, you're in a spot to draft a certain position at that point in time. I don't think at 12 they feel that way. I think they're going to look at it and say, Genty's going to be there, McMillan's going to be there, or somebody that's going to be an absolute stud is going to be there. So let's draft that guy.
What if goofiness and nonsenseness happens and the best corner is there? Like, the best player on the board is a corner. Where you at with that? Like, who's your best corner? Would you go best corner, or would you feel compelled to go wide receiver because we need wide receiver?
So your best corner right now is, I mean, are we saying hypothetical Travis Hunter's gone?
Well, Travis don't exist, but like whoever your next. So my next.
Because if that's the case, yes, I'm going.
Yeah, for sure. But if it's
I've got a first, he's my number 1 corner, and I have a 3rd round grade on him as a receiver. So
Jahdae Barron from Texas is my number 2 corner.
Okay, Will Johnson from Michigan, I think it's
Siobhan Rivell's another guy, ECU.
Yeah.
I don't know how that board's going to play out the closer we get to it.
I would definitely take a corner, because I'm, at least where I sit today and age right now, I'm not happy with what the reports have been around Trayvon Diggs.
And what's going to end up happening is
you've got to pay Deron Bland.
That's a problem. So let's just say what's going to, okay, you got a corner in round 1, you're going to take a running back in round 2, and you're going to take a D tackle in round 3, and next thing you know, you didn't even look at receiver. You know what I'm saying? So the Cowboys got.
And they've shown that they can go and get a veteran receiver. I mean, they went and got Brandon Cooks. You think about T.Y. Hilton a couple years ago. They've made an impact in the receiver free agent market, because I think there's so many of them out there.
Yeah.
That the price tag is dropped as if you're not an elite wide receiver. But kind of like what you're saying, you don't want to go get a guy that's just middle of the road. You need a guy that's going to elevate the group as a whole.
The Cowboys are going to find a middle of the road wide receiver, and we're going to have to love it. They're going to bring Zay Jones up in here, Tutu Atwell up in here. We're going to have to be happy.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to go for like a T. Higgins type. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're going to draft somebody somewhere. And
Did you trade for a guy that happened to wear like a ram horn on the side of his helmet last year?
Is he hurt guy?
I mean,
or is it the young one?
The guy who tweeted yesterday that they're going to trade him. Would you?
If the Rams really trying to move on,
which, I mean, if Cooper Kupp's posting that to social,
then in real life that makes me feel like I can get him for like a 5th. I'll send a 5th over there. I think that's what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
The Browns are gonna want your arm for that pass rush.
Oh yeah,
there
you're
for
giving
Myles
up
Garrett.
12 and then some.
That's different.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp is a guy. I don't know the rules here. I don't know if I'm allowed to say names because like collusion because it's a network.
He's under contract, but he put it out there. So
Okay, don't listen to me.
Let's just try to stay away from
okay, be
All right, we're gonna
stay away.
All right, so I'm the YouTuber and I don't even work here for real.
Yeah.
I don't work for
stay away
nobody.
Just to be clear,
But boy, in case there's a miscellaneous character that happened to play for another team in the league,
we're blue and yellow.
man, any wide receiver hell we can get up in here, boy. Yeah, if we can get him for like a day 3 pick or something like that, cool. But I think it's just like the Cooper situation, right? The Browns ate a lot of that money.
Yeah.
So Cooper was able to be traded for cheap.
Yep.
I don't know if some miscellaneous character that costs a lot of money or that team is going to want to take that cut.
Yeah.
So you might have to trade a higher pick for that imaginary character.
For them to
For
deal
that
with
dude. To, so I think I think teams are going to wait till he gets cut.
Yeah, probably.
Teams are going to wait till he gets cut, and then it'll be a post-June 1st thing.
Yeah. All right, let's take our first break. I love it. I'm just a YouTube guy that doesn't.
I don't even work. I'm a guest. I snuck in here.
Didn't even have a badge. He just came on in the door. I don't even know
me.
what he's doing here. All right, when we come back here on the Draft Show, we're going to take your questions for a little. It's a special edition of Twitter on the 20. We're going to answer some YouTube channel questions, and we're going to also take some phone calls as well. 888-855-2297. Give us a call. Send us a little bit of a request on YouTube. We'll be back with more right after this.
Hey.
Here we go. Tyler from Dude Perfect here. Big news. We just dropped our very own Dude Perfect smoothie with Smoothie King.
We is strong. It's my recipe.
Technically, we all came up with it, Kobe.
I mean, you put a potato in yours.
I was experimenting.
Yeah, we picked up on that. Guys, this is fruit smoothie perfection. I even heard it recently quoted that it was food perfect.
Yeah, I was the one that said that.
Oh, that's funny. It's punny.
Thank you. Anyways, get the Dude Perfect smoothie only at Smoothie King.
My smoothie.
Hi, Drew Pearson, former Dallas Cowboy and now Pro Football Hall of Famer here. If you're struggling with your vision and tired of those contacts and glasses, don't throw a Hail Mary. Go where I went. Laser Care Eye Center, the official LASIK partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Drew, thank you so much for trusting us with your vision correction procedure. At Laser Care Eye Center, we offer 6 different vision correction procedures to help patients see.
Check them out at dfweyes.com. Tell them Drew sent you. Hood hood.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
Back here on the Draft Show, presented by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Alongside Voch, Lombardi, I'm Kyle Youmans. It's time for a special edition of some
YouTube 20.
Was that YouTube on the 20?
YouTube.
Twitter on the 20.
Twitter and well, that's the thing. It's not even Twitter anymore. It's X on the 20. I don't even know what it is.
That ain't got a ring to it.
X on the double.
Doesn't
X,
have a ring to it.
Yeah,
so.
it just sounds weird.
X on the 10.
Yeah, whatever it ends up being. All right. This one's from Sin City Cowboy on YouTube. Says, with no 4th round pick, do you trade back up with a late 3rd do you trade back up a late 3rd and a 4th, or do we just pick our player and keep on pushing past that 4th round pick?
I think everybody in the world wants to trade back and get more picks, you know. So I don't even think about trading back as like a realistic situation till it happens, right? Like if I pick up the phone with some miscellaneous team and say, hey, I don't want to pick here. y'all want to pick here where I don't want to pick, and y'all give me some of y'all's picks, like that sounds, that sounds like somebody that doesn't want to do a deal with you. If I'm trading back, I want to trade back from my first so I can get as much of a haul as I can. Like that's where your big points are, right? If you trade back from the third, you might get a 2027 6th round pick or something. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna
you're not gonna bring in anything significant.
You're not getting big value from that. But if you move back 5, like to 19 or something, right? Like if you move to 19 or 20, you can get a 3 and a 4 possibly. So I think I would be looking for something like that.
This is another question from Kevin. How far would you be willing to trade back if that's the case? So you're talking about what you would be willing to give up.
Sure.
What about trading back?
If my Super Saiyan elites are all gone, like I'm not trading back from McMillan, Genty. I may trade back from Genty if I get more picks. Because my whole thing about Genty is I don't want to.
That's a prize. Somebody's going to come get him if that's the case.
I think the scariest thing you can do is pass on Genty. Caleb Johnson goes at like 25. Hampton goes at like 41.
Yeah.
And now you're on the board at 44. You see what I'm saying? So if we get an extra pick, I'm more likely to move back from Genty, but I'm not moving back. Like if Carter gets caught with a gas mask on his face, I'm not moving back. I'm taking Carter. But I think if I don't know, Matthew Golden is on the board or something, he's my best player, or Will Johnson from Michigan, if he's my best player or something like that. Yeah, I'll move back from Will Johnson and I'll take Kenny Grant or something at 20. I'll move back a lot of spots then. If my true elites are going, and
which is possible.
Sure. Yeah. I move out of the first round if y'all got some picks for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I think all those guys in that round 2 range, Mike Green, James Pierce is another guy. Now I can start talking about offensive linemen for real. Tyler Booker, I can get him at like 26 or something like that. Yeah. So as long as I'm not moving back from somebody truly Super Saiyan elite, then yeah, I can move back for sure.
So, and this is another question from Jesse, but there's a lead into Jesse's question.
What's up, Jesse?
This is a bad draft to be at 12, and I'll tell you why. Not because of the players that are possibly going to be there, but because usually if you're picking at 12, and the Cowboys saw this in 2021 when they were sitting there with Micah Parsons, usually you're going to have 3 or 4 quarterbacks go in front of that 12th overall pick.
Sure.
So you're going to get your selection of maybe the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th best player in the draft that's a non-quarterback.
Yeah.
This year, they'd be lucky if 1 guy, 2 guys go. Sure. Shitter, Cam Ward are probably the only 2 that will be up above the 12th overall pick.
Yep.
So other than that, you're picking your 10th, 11th, 12th best player that's a non-quarterback.
Sure.
Are there any quarterbacks that you saw? I know you said on the first show you're not watching quarterbacks yet.
Sure.
But throughout the week of Shrine Bowl and stuff like that, are there any quarterbacks that would be available in the 5th round and beyond?
Yeah, okay, so fifth and back.
So let's just say day 3.
Kyle McCord, Syracuse is a guy. He seems to be the guy that had the most command.
Got a lot of juice.
And honestly, if you're one of these players and these coaches, they talk to you and they interview you, and you can just run their offense. You may not be a great arm talent guy. You may not be the best athlete, but if you can run their offense, that's why Bo Nix got drafted pretty high. J.J. McCarthy got drafted. You just got to make a coach fall in love with you. So if there's anything like that, then sure. Or you may be a coach that's watching Buffalo Bills and you may get jealous of what they can do with Josh Allen. I'm not saying Riley Leonard's one of those guys, but just a big quarterback that can run around and run people over and throw the ball all around. He's not quite Josh Allen, but he's like a very light version of that. Yeah, you can bring him in and develop his arm and his reading and all. I mean, I know in his last bowl game he threw for like 120-some yards, and I was mad because I was like, there's no way he's getting top 12 throwing for 120-some yards in the bowl game. But some team will look at his athleticism and be like, if I can develop everything else, I think it'll be cool.
Okay, so there are a couple guys. The one guy that I kept going back to during the draft process was Brosmer from Minnesota. Thought he had a really good week.
Yeah.
He's a take a flyer guy for me. He's not a let's draft him in the 2nd, 3rd round.
Yeah.
But he's a former FCS product, made the jump to Minnesota, had a really good year with the Golden Gophers, had a good week of practice at Senior Bowl. Got some arm talent, got some velocity, good ball placement at a couple of times. Wasn't perfect, don't get me wrong. And I thought there were a couple guys throughout both Shrine Bowl and Senior Bowl practices that weren't very good.
I can tell tell Kyle watches ball because when I was watching him, I was like, all right, he has noticeably more zip on the football
than pretty much everybody else there.
Than all of them. But he will stare his receiver down and get
darn
picked
right
off.
he will.
He'll look right at who he's throwing to. I'm throwing to you. He'll point at him.
Watch Lombardi. I hope you're open. He's gonna say your name on the way through his arm motion.
Hey, and he'll throw it right to you. Cool athlete and all that, but if he could just work on not looking at what if he could look,
but that's teachable to me.
It's teachable, but he did. Out of all the Shrine guys, I think he had the best arm talent.
Him and McCord, I think, were the two guys. Because the Auburn, Peyton Thorne, not it. There's a lot of dying off at the end of the ball. Sure. It wasn't there from a lot of those guys. But I thought Brosmer and McCord were good. I was not impressed with really any of the Senior Bowl guys that weren't named Jackson Dart. And even Jackson Dart, and I love Jalen Milroe. Milroe's probably a top 4 quarterback in this draft for me. Mm-hmm. Dart was on the borderline of that. I think I had him at 5. I might give him a bump just because of what I saw in person.
Sure.
But it still didn't jump off the page like we've seen in the past with Tua and Justin Herbert and some of these other cats that had been at the Senior Bowl in the past. All right, let's go to MJ in L.A., California. MJ, you're on the draft show.
Oh, no.
Hey, how you guys doing?
What up, MJ?
Voch?
What up, my guy?
Hey, congratulations,
listen?
brother.
Yeah, man, appreciate it, Doc.
Hey, I always want to get on the show. You know me.
Yeah.
I like the big guy, Robinson from Nebraska, D tackle.
Ty Robinson, yeah.
Got energy, powerful. That's the kind of player the Cowboys need. And y'all, it's so many halfbacks. Rashard Smith out of SMU. Mm-hmm. That dude can catch. He's fast. Mm-hmm. And it's so many halfbacks. I'm not tripping over the halfback. Mm-hmm. So I like your tackle pick you was picking from Ohio State. Yeah. If he's there, and that make a good sense. But to me, either one, I'm not mad because this run scheme, I'm so excited. We got something new and different than we used to do.
Yeah. Marv, listen, let me ask you this. So if Simmons is the pick at 12 overall, would you be mad at it?
No.
Okay, cool.
I'll be like, let's build that line.
You're starting to talk people into
this.
It's
team,
all good.
And that's good for Dak Prescott with the play action.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell y'all something.
Quickly.
You guys, you got to stop our receivers. We got some fast receivers. Mingo, Florney.
Yep.
He just didn't get the play call about Mike.
Yep.
I ain't going to hate on Mike, but Mike made me mad because Florney, with that speed and the plays that Shotty bringing, you're going to see some big plays from Mingo and Florney.
Appreciate you.
His scheme open up receivers.
Appreciate
Love the show. How about them Cowboys?
Appreciate you, man. I'm going to call you later.
Thanks, MJ. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, no, he brings up good points. He brought up Ty Robinson, Nebraska. Yeah. What did you see out of him?
Very active, very strong. He looks like a Ty Robinson from Nebraska, body-wise. When we talk about those guys, the big, country strong, looking guys, right? And I think he had a really good Senior Bowl practice, Senior Bowl practices. I was shocked at how many one-tech type guys are in this class and had some pretty good rush.
I love the way you talked about it in the draft show last week and the way you said dancing bears.
Yeah.
It was perfect. Because I've been watching a lot of children's cartoons with my kids around recently. However, the dancing bears mentality, that's what it felt like. A couple of those guys along the way and on that defensive line, they can move.
We don't have a lot of just stuck in the ground guys anymore.
No.
And even if you are 300,
no Quentin Bohannas in this thing.
We don't have those guys. These guys get upfield. Jordan Phillips from Maryland's another one. CJ West from Indiana, he's another one. Yeah. So there's a lot of tackles here.
Yeah, and I like Omar Norman Lott from Tennessee, another guy who can move. Back and forth, little tweener action there. Mm-hmm. Let's go. Darius dropped. Let's go to John G in Arlington, Virginia.
What
John,
up,
you're on the draft show.
Hey, what's going on, Voch, man? Hey, look, I didn't mean to start a fire this morning, but, it is what it is. How you doing, Kyle? How you doing?
Wait, what fire did you start?
When I'm saying people fighting me over running back,
this is
people.
It?
This is people. What's up, John G? Tell them about it.
Nothing much.
Why do you hate Josh Simmons?
I don't hate Josh Simmons. The issue is last year we didn't have a fourth-round pick. This year we don't have a fourth-round pick. So the Cowboys have to be a little bit more aggressive and probably the running back or the receiver position, being that they're not really players in free agency. So my question to you guys is, what would need to happen for you guys to be team trade back? And, how aggressive would you guys be in trying to get that round 4 pick back?
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah,
DMV.
Thanks for the call and thanks for the question.
DMV Cowboys on YouTube. Shouts out to them. I think we all want to trade back. We want more picks because we're in this situation where we don't have a fourth, and we were sitting in y'all were sitting in these chairs. I was at home when we were in the 4th round. We go, man, Braylon Allen
just hanging out,
just chilling over there, man. Yeah. All these great 4th round guys that we have on our board, and they're just leaving because we don't have a 4th round pick. Yeah. So what's it going to take for us to be on team trade now? It ain't gonna take much.
No, it's kind of what you outlined earlier.
Sure.
A couple of your dudes that are up at the top, McMillan, Ginty, Banks, a couple of those, Simmons, those guys are gone, which could very well be the case in the top 10.
Yep.
Then, let's pull the parachute and get out of there. I don't want to pass up on a bona fide first-round grade.
Yep.
That's where I'm at because you're in a spot to have, even in a draft class where there's not a whole lot of first-round grades, you're still at 12, and even with the outline situation that I talked about with the quarterbacks not taking away from those picks, you're still going to have a shot at a first-round graded player.
If the best player on the board, if you feel just as good about the player that's 10 spots down, that's available still, I think you can trade back. You know what I mean? Like if I
that'd be like a Luther Burden from Missouri, something like that.
I think he's at that line. I think some people love him, some people may not love him as much. But if you take Luther Burden versus like Kenny Grant, I think you like both of those guys relatively the same. If it's just randomly, I'm just saying like Mason Graham versus Kenny Grant. Everybody looks at those two dudes kind of differently, right?
Very much so.
Mason's not going to be there, but just the example here, right? So just whoever's on the board right now versus anybody that's 10 spots down from you, that'll give you a good feel about how you feel about trading back from him. And I think Josh Simmons, the only reason he's available because he's like my knee hurts guy, right? But Josh Simmons versus 10 players down, I like Simmons more than my 10 players down guy. Yeah. But Luther Burden is about kind of close to me.
And the one that's going to be interesting is Ginty because of the draft class that surrounds him at the same running back position that he's going to have to fill.
Ginty's so much better than whoever's 10.
There's a significant drop, but you can still get a guy. And if we're maximizing those first 3 picks, which is what we're all trying to do because you don't have that 4th round pick, and we're going to be sitting there on that the beginning of day 3, and we're going to be watching that 4th round just tick off the clock, and it's just boop, 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 name, starter down the line, and we're going to just sit there and be like, man, I hope Jonathan Mingo works out.
The Cowboys' run game was really good with Zeke, and it was really good with Murray. Sure. And Zeke is a top 4 guy. Murray was like a round 3 or so guy. So I think if you miss on Ginty, you better hope you
hit a guy.
You just get a guy. Yeah. That's going to be real good.
No, makes sense. All right, we're going to take some more questions when we come back. 888-855-2297. Great start to this special edition of Twitter on the 20. The most action-packed motorsports experience in the world returns to Arlington. Head to AT&T Stadium on Saturday, March 8th for Monster Jam. Get ready to cheer, scream, and be amazed as massive Monster Jam trucks take over Arlington. Tickets are on sale now at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing partner of AT&T Stadium. We'll be right back with more of the Draft Show right after this.
I'm Darren Woodson, former Dallas Cowboy player and Super Bowl champion. When I played in the NFL at a high level, I relied on my vision to see the field. As I started getting older, I noticed my vision wasn't as good, and I was getting frustrated from wearing my glasses all day. I went to Laser Care Eye Center, and Dr. G talked about all the options. Thanks to technology and Laser Care Eye Center, I can see near, far, and between. Don't fumble your vision any longer. Visit them at dfweyes.com and tell them Darren sent you. They got me back on my game.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pregame sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Here we go. Tyler from Dude Perfect here. Big news. We just dropped our very own Dude Perfect smoothie with Smoothie King.
We is strong. It's my recipe.
Technically, we all came up with it, Kobe.
I mean, you put a potato in yours.
I was experimenting.
Yeah, we picked up on that. Guys, this is fruit smoothie perfection. I even heard it recently quoted that it was food perfect.
Yeah, I was the one that said that.
Oh, that's funny. It's punny.
Thank you. Anyways, get the Dude Perfect smoothie only at Smoothie King.
My smoothie.
How about them Cowboys? Or how about them Tyson Cowboys Nuggets? As we cheer for the stars on the field, we love that we've also got some stars on our plate, thanks to Tyson brand star-shaped Cowboys Nuggets. That, along with all our other favorite Tyson Foods products, sure make game day special. Score some delicious Tyson Cowboys Nuggets and become a game day star, just like our Cowboys. As you enjoy your stars on and off the plate, remember, tailgates and game day have always been Tyson.
This is the DallasCowboys.com Draft Show.
The biggest names in tennis head to the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco this February. Actually, they're out there right now. Witness top-ranked Casper Ruud and former Dallas Open champion American Tommy Paul dazzle on the court as the Dallas Open moves to a new home. Catch all the hard-hitting action and watch the top players on tour compete live. Tickets are available now at SeatGeek.com. It's really cool out there. I don't know if you got a chance to stop by there, Voch, on your way in. They've got the whole Ford Center turned into like a tennis mecca.
I try
People
not to,
walking around and everything. It's crazy.
I try not to walk around here too much because I don't want to be like lost looking.
Oh, yeah.
So I just come to the studio and go back to the truck. I don't do a lot of exploring.
Oh, look, there's a live look inside there. That's what it looks like right now inside the Ford Center. And there's another court on the other side of that grandstand that's in the middle there.
Okay, y'all talking about tennis. I thought y'all was talking about like a concert or something. I thought it was like a country music concert.
No, tennis. It's the Dallas Open. It's tennis.
Hell yeah, I love the Dallas Open. Yeah,
big tennis guy, pickleball.
What it is?
Pickleball?
What's that?
You never heard of that? It's like ping pong, but like with a wiffle ball, and you're like on a tennis court. It's weird stuff.
Ain't that ping pong? Yeah, don't they play ping
I'm
pong?
shocked you've never heard of pickleball. It's like the whole big thing now.
I'm from Natchez,
Mississippi. I feel you.
I'm from Natchez, Mississippi. We don't have pickleball.
Yeah.
We don't have pickleball in Natchez, Mississippi, sir.
Okay.
Sorry.
I bet you there's some people out there. The YouTube comments are going to be all over one of us.
Bet you they ain't got pickleball. You want to go look? I bet you they ain't got pickleball now.
Just look it up when you get off. We'll look it up here in a minute. All right.
We'll look it up.
Voch Lombardi, I'm Kyle Youmans. Chris Beam's in the back running the draft show here today as the rest of the crew is out there in New Orleans, Louisiana for the Super Bowl coming up. What is it, Super Bowl 59 now? Is it 59,
that's
correct?
10, 1. That is 9.
Yeah, 59.
1X is 9, yep.
Yeah, haven't been in one in a while. I lost count a while back. All right. Let's talk a little bit about some of these other questions along the way. I like this one, and we kind of touched on this in the first segment. This is from Chris, it looks like, on YouTube. Are we overlooking corner as a position of need in this draft because we're hoping the front office addresses it in free agency, or because this corner class isn't worth investing a pick in?
Yeah, I mean, there's some corners in this class. You ain't lie to me.
Too.
You know, Jahdae Barron was a name I mentioned earlier. Texas, he's a guy that can play all over the place. Trey Amos from Ole Miss is a guy I like a lot. Benjamin Morrison, Notre Dame. There's a bunch of names. Now, if he's saying there's not a bunch of corners throughout the draft, I guess. But I got corners in rounds 1, 2, and 3 that I like a bunch.
Good about.
Yeah. So, but to his point though, I don't know if you just want to jump off the porch looking for a corner. I'm not sure how much of an emergency corner is, but you can use some more corners. You know, it depends on what this team feels about Kalen Carson taking the next step. You know us, hey man, you got to step up, Kyle. You know how.
Yep.
You know. So it depends on how hurt Diggs is. I think Bland will be fine. Depends on what they think about Carson.
That paycheck from Bland is looming though, because this is his final year of his contract, and there's going to be a conversation there when you're paying guys like Dak and CD and Micah.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pay Deron Bland, and that's going to be a big check too.
I think they draft corner every year. They do it in different places. It'll be high, it'll be low sometimes. But I feel like we draft corner a lot. So I think
Kalen Carson last year. Yeah.
I think we'll go corner again. I don't think we could not use corner. Appreciate you, Chris.
Yeah. What about this one from Y Red on YouTube? Draft a guard and keep Cooper Beebe at center, or sign a starting caliber center and move Cooper Beebe to guard?
I don't want Cooper Beebe to learn how to snap and then learn how to snap and then step and learn all the calls and just to look at it and be like, all right, you're going to be at guard. I think it's a good thing to have a powerful center. I don't think a lot of teams have powerful centers. I think a lot of teams try to hide their centers because they're, smaller or they may not be powerful. I think if you finally get a center that can wrestle, and that's what BB is, I just think you just get him a tag team partner that can wrestle. And Tyler Smith, if you're just watching combos later on in the season, BB and Tyler really got good with their they started whooping people and moving line. Then that's what we really want.
I know a lot of people were excited about what Brock Hoffman and TJ Bass did and filled in those roles.
Sure.
That element right there,
Yeah.
the way that they were able to combo block and the way they were able to grow together seemingly, that was the most exciting thing I saw on the offensive line all year long.
For sure. So I'm here to keep BB at center. I don't want to move any, mess up any growth from him. Keep him there, and just if you want to find me a gangster that's strong and put him at right guard, then let's boogie. I keep saying Tyler Booker because he's the one that goes to whoop people, but Radledge from Georgia, Milam from West Virginia, he didn't have the greatest Senior Bowl in the world. I thought he was.
And you still think all those are guards?
I think all those dudes are. That's exactly why I named them. See, Kyle's a pro. That's exactly why I named them.
Making sure
because they guard.
Because a lot of people think they're tackles. I think Booker could be a tackle.
Booker, let me tell you why you think that. Because he's strong and he can wrestle people.
You're damn right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think offensive line.
They're not Kenneth Grant. Kenneth Grant's he's just a monster of a dude. I'm not moving him inside.
Offensive line are all the same. We're all whooping somebody in front of them.
Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong sheet.
It's all good.
I'm stupid.
It's all good. But Tyler. Yeah, put Tyler Booker at. You can put him at free safety if you want to. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever. Let him be physical. You put him at one tech. Let him be physical. But I think his traits with his power, with his knee bend for a guard,
325 pounds.
His 325ness. Yeah, I think he's a guard for sure. And I think he's a natural right guard.
Okay. I like it. This is an intriguing question with the news surrounding, of course, all the new additions with this coaching staff moving forward. CR Zeno on Twitter says, with the news of the new offensive coordinator, would you think running back / offensive line help isn't as high of a need as previously believed, and we could go wide receiver in the first round?
I always want to get better dudes. So whoever the best dude is in the first round, cool. And
don't worry about it.
And then we can go from there in round 2 or whatever. But if you just listen to how the coaches are talking, like they're giving you clues that they want to do a lot of wide stuff. They want to get outside. They want to be fast on the edges there. So I would imagine that, hey, we're up here talking about all these running backs that run in between the tackles and thump people. We may be in line for a quick bursty type guy. So, maybe that's something you could be looking for. To their point, if we go receiver, I think all of these receivers do wide things really well. They take handoffs wide really well. So, yeah, this is a class of good sideways running receivers for that.
Yeah, I like it. All right, we're going to step aside. That's going to do it for us here on this edition of the Draft Show. We got through it, bud.
How about these people, man? Come on.
Should be fun. I actually really like this because one of the things that's new for Cowboys podcasts in general is we're going live on YouTube now, and that allows for the comment section to come back. Back when we first started this and I was on the show initially, the comment section was a big part of what we do because we love interacting with fans, and I love trying to read along the way what are some of these different things that you want to talk about, and this was a good indication of that. I thought this was awesome. Plus, Voch has certainly built a YouTube following that is respectable along the way, and you guys are awesome for tuning into the Draft Show as well. Should be fun.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in, and if we keep going live, there are going to be some shows in March and April where we're going to need y'all because we're going to run out of stuff to talk about. So get in here and ask all the questions you want so that we can keep giving y'all content and not have to overthink it, all right? Appreciate it.
Feel free to start getting in depth, too, about it. We're starting to watch more and more of these guys. What is the number you're at? How many?
I'm at 104.
Jesus. Yeah, I got a lot of catching.
Kaimon Rucker.
I'm at like half of that.
The Edge, I just kind of watched him last, and Azaro Arosa, tight end from Miami.
Okay.
Elijah Arroso.
Elijah Arroyo.
What the name is?
Elijah Arroyo. He's from Frisco.
Okay, I know. Yeah, he's from Frisco. Yeah, cool. I just watched him last night. So he's like my 103rd player. So we getting down there.
I like Elijah Arroyo a lot. Where'd you have him?
I got him in the 4th. I think he hasn't played his best ball yet. I think Miami didn't really figure out what to do with him until like later. But I think if he goes to a team where a quarterback is really going to let it rip and let him get vertical downfield and catch the ball over guys, then perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he's going to work sideways, but if he does some jet sweep stuff, he lines up at the X, he lines up in the slot, he lines up in line. So I like him.
By the way, Beamer wants to know, have you ever been to Duncan Park in your hometown? You ever heard of Duncan Park?
Yeah. There's only like 2 parks in Natchez. So Duncan Park is
one of them.
Duncan Park's one of the ones that we go to, and when I was a kid,
they have pickleball courts at Duncan Park.
They must have just see.
It's probably a new thing.
When I'm not gonna get into all that, but we didn't go to Duncan Park to play on the courts. We went to go.
That's going to do it for us here on the Draft Show. For Voch Lombardi, for Chris Beam, I'm Kyle Youmans.
We went to Duncan Park.
We'll see you next time on the Draft Show.
Some people went to Duncan Park, but
this has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.